Share your opinions as to the appropriate method for school performance evaluations.
I went through a period of time when I was young, going from school to school to school, where it was very, very difficult for me to be evaluated. I tended to be a lot stronger in English and history and languages, and a little bit weaker in the math and sciences. And it was very, very difficult. I never did like standardized tests because I never did well on standardized tests. And as somebody who has always struggled to get ahead, remember, people were always telling me, you can't do this, you can't go to college, you can't go to law school, you can't go to Congress, and can't's not in my vocabulary. I traditionally scored very poorly on standardized tests, but I said, give me a chance and I will do well. I think what we need to do is make sure that every student in America gets an opportunity. Some people do better on standardized tests than others. Some, like me, do not, but will work hard. We need to begin to reward hard work and find the special gifts that each and every student has. I have 3 sons. They all have different gifts, academic strengths, and academic weaknesses. Their teachers find that in school. So I would prefer to see our local and state folks have much more control and less control in Washington, D.C. Because, again, as we over-bureaucratize the process, we run the risk of losing precious individuals who have very, very, very great gifts. And I want to make sure that every child who gets an education in this country has that opportunity to flourish and find their gifts.
I believe your question was about the evaluation of the students with standardized tests. Yes. Okay. Before I go to that, my opponent has extrapolated from our regulation of the school system to say that we shouldn't have federal regulation of anything. And that just isn't so. And so, for example, it's quite appropriate to have EPA regulations of many things in our environment, and that is in the best interest of our children not to have a lot of smog and a lot of asthma interfering with their ability to breathe. With respect to evaluating the students, standardized tests are not the only measure. There is never just one measure. And so the high-stakes testing that does just that standardized test is flying in the face of what we as Americans with liberty and equal opportunity, I think, would like to see. We want to see people evaluated for many things, and I would give you the example of New Orleans. We had New Orleans scoring on the bottom as far as their community with respect to standardized tests, but look at the music that came out of New Orleans. No one tested the music. No one tested the creation of all the jazz and the other beautiful things that came artistically from there. So there is not just one measure, and these high-stakes tests and paying a lot of big bucks to Senator Frist and Jamie Woodson for producing these high tests that don't have adequate teacher involvement to evaluate either the teachers or the students is a mistake. It's not that easy.